All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another one. Hope all is well. In this video, if let me see, give me a second here. Yeah, guys, in this video, I wanted to cover the passing of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Wife Khadijah, mother Khadijah Farrakhan, passes away. So we're gonna get into that. Um, yeah, we're gonna get into that because the story just broke that she passed away. Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. So, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan was born Betsy Ross on November 26, 1935. She became widely known as Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, the longtime wife of Minister Louis Farrakhan and the First Lady of the Nation of Islam. Sources note that she and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan married in 1953, and they built a family of 9 children while he rose as one of the most recognized leaders in the Nation of Islam. For many of those who not know who Mother Khadijah Farrakhan was, she was much more than just a wife of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. She was born Betsy Ross, like I said before, in 1935, and later became known to many as Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. So I just wanted to say that, the First Lady of the Nation of Islam. I just wanted to confirm here. Yeah, I wrote, yeah, they were married in 1953. Before he became one of the most well-known religious and political voices in Black America. Their marriage lasted for decades and together raised a large family while standing through the pressures and sacrifices and public scrutiny that came with the leadership. Mother Khadijah was often described as a woman of faith, family, loyalty, and quiet strength, while Minister Farrakhan was the public voice. She represented the foundation behind the scenes, a wife, a mother, grandmother, a respected figure within the Nation of Islam community. For over the years, many people saw her as a symbol of Black love, commitment, and endurance. Her life reflected the role of a woman who supported her husband's mission, helped hold the family together, and remained respected by generations who looked up to Farrakhan's family. So when people hear the name Khadijah Farrakhan, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, excuse me, they should understand that she was not just connected to history, she was part of that history. Her legacy is tied to family, faith, and sacrifice, and the partnership that lasted through many, many chapters of the Nation of Islam. And so, yeah, so she passed away. Um, yeah, so they're saying she passed away here. And so, yeah, I just want to take this time to acknowledge that she passed away. Um, I know a lot about the Nation of Islam and things like that. Malcolm X helped really propel it in the early days. Well, not well, the early days of when he joined, and he joined right when he got up. He joined in prison. Malcolm X joined in prison, but when he came out, he was instrumental in getting a lot of mosques around the country established, and Farrakhan was there as well. Um, and then, there's some history around Malcolm X and his passing, and then Farrakhan. Well, after Malcolm's passing, um, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Well, let me back up for a minute. So after Malcolm passed, eventually, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed, and then his son Warif Deen Muhammad took over. He wanted to bring the Nation of Islam to more of an orthodox sect, but they didn't want to. That didn't. Well, he did, but then Farrakhan took over in the '80s and turned it into what it is now. So that's what I wanted to say. So he kind of saved the brand by bringing it back to the way it was when the honorable minister, the honorable Elijah Muhammad took over. So when Warif Dean, like I said, when Warif Dean Muhammad took over, he wanted to bring it more traditional into like Sunni. But like I said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan restored it back to where it was when Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad was around. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, excuse me. Well, yeah, man. Khadijah, oh, excuse me, Khadijah Farrakhan, ladies and gentlemen, Khadijah Farrakhan. Khadijah Farrakhan, the mother queen Khadijah Farrakhan, has passed away. She belongs to the ages. Her timeline here is over. And a lot of things think about all the stuff she witnessed being married to this guy. She went through the whole drama involving Malcolm X. She went through all of that. She was just quietly in the background the whole time. Imagine the things her husband told her. Now, here's the thing, though. I believe the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I believe he's 93. So they definitely gonna have to watch him because he's been married to her for so long. And usually spouses are right behind each other, especially when they've been married that long. So one go, the other one is close behind. But he was really like a polarizing figure, like one of the figures that I studied in history because I like American history, right? So they're part of American history, so I like to study it to see what happened back then. I want to know. I didn't live back then, but I want to see what happened back then. So I like that type of history, and they're part of American history. You know, he was a part of some very big moments in history. Malcolm X passing. Now I can tell you where he was when Malcolm X passed from the history I did, and I'm gonna tell you about when I used to box at this boxing gym. How it ties into this. So when Malcolm X passed, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, at the time he was in Newark, New Jersey, at the mosque downtown. Okay, it's not there no more. Man, that's a name I haven't seen in a while. Is that Miss T Pre? What the fuck? I haven't seen you in a minute. I was like, wait a minute, that ain't Miss T Pre that I know. That can't be Miss T Pre that I know. Can't be. Somebody got your name. Nah, what's up, Miss T Pre? How you doing? Um, long time no see. And shout out to Miss T Pre. Um, yeah, so okay, so moving forward. So Mother Khadijah, she's known as Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, right? She okay, so you have her husband, he played a major role in the Nation of Islam. She did too for the women's side. She played a major role behind the scenes on how they conducted their business, on what they did. You know, they instituted they had a huge home ec program. How they taught women how to be women, so to speak, how to be women in the Nation of Islam. She was a major part of that. She was like the overseer of that. And like I said, he brought the Nation of Islam back in the 1980s, early 80s, to where it was back when Malcolm X and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was around. So he brought it back to that tradition. Like I said, Warif Dean Muhammad wanted to take it into a more traditional form of Islam, like Sunni. But so that's what happened in the 80s. It was like a transition in the 80s, early 80s. But she lived through all of that. But not only that, before she was with him when he was Louis Walcott, before he was Louis Farrakhan. She was with him when he was Louis Walcott, the jazz musician. Okay, he was calypso. He had that background, calypso jazz. I'm not sure if he knew. Yes, he did. I believe he did know number 9. When I say number 9, if you anybody know anything about Thailand, number 9 was the ninth king of Thailand. Number 9. They know him as number 9. The current one is number 10. But number 9 also was a jazz musician. I believe they knew each other because the former king of Thailand, number 9, he played in what band was that? He played in a what is his name? Lionel Hampton. If anybody know Lionel Hampton, he played backup in his band. A lot of people don't know that. He did a gig with Lionel Hampton one time, the king of Thailand. He did. And I believe he knew Farrakhan back in the day as well. I believe he did. I'm pretty sure he did because they both were musicians and they knew each other. A lot of people didn't know that about the king of Thailand, the former king, the one that passed away. Number 9. Yeah. He knew a lot of jazz musicians and he was inspired by many black jazz musicians, believe it or not, the king of Thailand. And when a lot of them came to Thailand, they were treated like royalty. And a lot of the people didn't understand why, because he looked up to them. So whenever they came to Thailand, a lot of people don't know that. When they came to Thailand, they treated them like royalty because of him. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Um, but I believe that he knew Farrakhan as well back in the day. Pretty sure he did. Because he was kind of known back then when he was younger. He had a lot of talent. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But that career was halted because of his duties in the Nation of Islam. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted him to take more of a role in the Nation of Islam and leave the music alone. But he's a very accomplished musician. So she went through the whole transition with him. She was around. They got married when they were in college, early college. That's why he dropped out of college because he was married and then they started having children. She was she kept herself very nice. Yeah, she did. But you never know when somebody's battling something. But the closest I never met them. Never met them, but the closest I got to let me see, what's the closest I ever gotten? Because I never met them actually. I knew people that knew them though, but I never personally met them. But I remember when he had came to Virginia, he was going into this mosque and he was like greeting people. I saw him. We were all standing there and we saw him walk in. She wasn't with him though. And he had all his security. We call him the Black Secret Service. He had all his security with him and the security detail and everything like that. That's why they could never touch him. Because if you notice, how come they didn't touch him? Because he had so much security. That's why they couldn't get to him. I'm pretty sure they wanted to because, he was very outspoken. Many called him anti-Semitic and different things like that. But yeah, he used to keep it 100, man. You said the minister was destined to be a big star in Hollywood. He and Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte and James Earl and Billy, what is it, Epstein, were all sought after entertainers. Yeah, he was big back then. He was when he was younger. You said you spoke with his son Mustafa. You said he was big when he was big when he was younger. A lot of people don't know that because he left that life alone. He left that life alone early in life. But for the when he in his teens and early 20s, he was very accomplished as a musician. Even the king of Thailand knew him because they both were hanging out in the same circle. Like they both knew each other. Put it that way, not hanging out in the same circle, but musicians know each other, especially back then. He was friends with Muammar Gaddafi, the late Muammar Gaddafi, of Libya. They were really, really good friends. In fact, a lot of people don't know this. When Fidel Castro had came to the United States, there was a lot of hotels that then they were turning him down. Right? He came and stayed in Harlem. Fidel Castro stayed in Harlem, and I believe he was hanging out with the honorable minister back then. Yeah, Fidel Castro stayed in Harlem. Yep, that's where he stayed at. They welcome him in Harlem. Okay. Oh, I didn't know he graduated from the Juilliard. I didn't know that. He's very well accomplished. Make no mistakes about it. And he still can play to this day. If he, I don't know how he is physically right now, but even in his old age, he could still play. And every now and then he would. Every now and then he would. Um, Very interesting. They used to call him Calypso Gene back in the day. From 1950 to 55. Yeah, he's a violinist. So think about it. From 1939 to 1955 is when he was a violinist, and he could have continued further, but like I said, his duties in the nation was calling. But yeah, back in the day, they used to call him Calypso Gene. They had one deceased child. I believe they have two now. I believe one. Yeah, one is deceased. I want to find out. Let me see. I already talked about his relationship with Muammar Gaddafi. Yeah, she passed today on the 27th. Um, Let me see. Yeah, they married in 1953. Very long time. Let me see. Also, they said he never knew his biological father. Some people speculate that his biological father is white. No, excuse me, may have been Jewish. In 1996 interview with Henry Louis Gate Jr., um, it was speculated that Percival Clark, a light-skinned man with straight hair from Jamaica, was may have been Jewish. But after his stepfather died in 1936, that's when the family moved to Boston, the Roxbury neighborhood. He received his first violin at the age of 5. By the time he was 12, he was already accomplished. Interesting. Yeah, man, they went through a lot. Yeah, they she seen a lot with this man for sure. But it's like every any engagement he went to, she was always there. like, but in the background. You never really heard her talk, really. But she had a very strong influence on his life, though. Let me see. Yep, rest well, Queen Khadijah. I always known her to be with him. It's just like, it's like when he's there, she's there. She's right there. Like she don't say nothing, but she's a powerful figure in his life. She's right there. Wherever he is, she's there. Except for some of the trips he went on. When he had went to Libya, I'm not sure if she was with him. She may have been. I have to see, but I didn't see her when he went to Libya, when he took that famous Libya trip. You said no need to hear her. You said no need to hear her, but Farrakhan. Every now and then she would talk, but I just don't remember. I just don't remember. She talks, but it's just she didn't really have to. She just was there. You know what I'm saying? Even when he gave his big speeches on Founders Day and stuff like that, she was just there. You know what I'm saying? Like she's the his foundation though. Yeah, man. So the thing is, they've been married for so long, they have to watch him, make sure he's okay. Because they damn near grew up together. They were married so long. Especially you have a partner that long, you gotta watch him. Yeah, so that's rare to be married that long. You find somebody, no matter what they were together. I'm talking about through all the history, through the whole Malcolm X situation, everything, the death of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, everything. You said she probably was there in Libya. Nation of Women didn't get involved. Yeah, she may have been there, but she didn't say anything, or I don't remember her being there because that was a pretty historic trip for him to do that. She may have been there. She may have been, because she's been with him on a lot of trips. You know, um, you said back in 2024 you met a guy who told me Farrakhan was going to leave us in 2026. I don't know exactly who he meant by that, but it's bugged out how his wife passed in 20. Yeah, but see the thing is, with people married that long, they could go together. They could go back to back. We don't know. That's why I say people have to watch him to make sure he's okay. Because he don't have his partner no more. You know what I'm saying? That's his partner in life, man. She's gone. And they got married young. You know what I'm saying? So they gotta watch him, like, to make sure he's all right. 'Cause that's how they do. One go and the other one gets sad, and that's it. So, because even though they say they okay, they're not okay. They'll tell you they're okay. Yeah, I'm okay. And they won't even show they won't even be sad about it. They be like, yeah, my wife, like, bro, your wife just passed. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And they're not okay. They're like crying on the inside. So they got to watch them. Like I said, she been with him throughout the whole history of everything that he's been through. She was there. I could see if she married him after, you know, he was in a Nation of Islam. No, she was with him before that. Think about it. She was with him before he knew Malcolm X. That's a long time. you know? Like I said, I could see if she had came along later. She was there when he was known as Calypso Jane. That's how long they've been married. They got married when he was a student at Winston-Salem in North Carolina. He has his they have their roots, like I said, in Boston, Massachusetts. Um, Also, ironically enough, Malcolm X had roots in Boston, Massachusetts as well. This is back when he was early age. His sister used to live there, his big sister. He went to go live with her and he got locked up. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Hold on, let me see something really quickly. You said is he from the Bronx? Yeah, yeah. You talking about where he was born? I was just talking about where he grew up. He has some roots in Boston, but he was born in New York City. So yeah. Yeah, that is correct. He was born in New York City. That is correct, my friend. Yeah, born in New York City, has some family. They grew up he grew up in Boston as well. I remember that photo with Mother Khadijah, King and Betty Shabazz. Yeah. And Merle Evers. Yeah, I remember that photo. Sorry for your loss, unborn savior. You said this what happened to my mother last year. My mother passed 15 months after my father. And you said they were married a long time. It usually happens like that. That's why sometimes you gotta watch them because that happens, especially if they've been together so long. The other ones start internalizing it and start you and normally they do it in silence. Or oh, whoa, 45 years? Yeah. And I bet you the other spouse didn't even mourn, did they? You couldn't even see them mourning. It didn't feel like they were mourning, but they were. They do it quietly. They sure do. They do it quietly. They start you know what they start doing? They start reflecting back on when they met each other all the way up until it's like their lives play in front of them. Yep. Because you married that long, it's more than just physical. It's a spiritual it's a spiritual tie. It's almost like losing a twin. But when you get older like that, it's almost like they lose their breath. Like their breath is lost. That's how connect, especially if they loved each other deeply. That's what happened. Yeah, that's a lifetime mate. Yeah, that's back then they took them vows seriously, didn't they? They sure did. For sickness and in health. For better or worse, till death do us part. They meant that. Back in the day, they meant it. But rest in peace to Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. Um, she's part of history. I was just thinking about some of the history he's been through. She was there. Everything. Yeah, there's in the house thinking and thinking, right? They'll be reflecting on their life. You ever seen some older couple, they've been married so long, they be fussing at each other, but they don't never get upset though. They fuss but don't get upset. And one something happened to one, you gotta watch the other one. It's crazy. My grandfather lived to he was 97. No, yeah, okay. Well, no, his my grandmother passed first. She was a lot younger than he was, and she was like 90, and he lived a couple more years, and he passed away because all he used to do was talk about her. They was like, man, we worried about him now because all he talks to her. No, and at the last part of his life, I'm talking about in the last few days of his life, like the last 5 days, she was right there with him because he was talking to her. She was right there comforting him, getting him ready to transition. She came back, but we just couldn't see her. He could see her, but we couldn't, nobody could see her. And then I remember saying, I said that he's here. I mean, excuse me, she's here to come get him. She didn't cross over yet. She's want to cross over with him. They was like, what? I said she didn't cross over yet. She came back to get him because he couldn't handle it. So she came and she's coming, she's getting him ready for his transition. They was like, really? I said, yeah, he getting ready to go. They said, no, man, he just got a cold. I said, no, he's getting ready to go. Y'all need to bring people here now to say their goodbyes. They said, bro, how do you know? I said, he's talking to her. That's a sign that he only got a few days left. And guess what happened? He died that Friday. And I said it on Tuesday. And to this day, they're like, bro, how do you know that? I said, that's a sign. Go ask anybody that work in a nursing home. Go ask them. When they start talking to relatives that you don't see, that's a sign they get ready to go. They and the relatives are there. They are there, but you can't see them. But they can see them because when you pass on, it's almost like the computer system. Because this life is nothing but a computer system. It's this brother in Africa that figured it out. They send somebody to comfort you in that time, and it's usually a family member that you know, and that'll guide you to the next step, so you can get ready to do this all over again. 'Cause that's what's gonna happen. You know why? Because you don't remember being born, but you were somewhere, and all of a sudden you just born again. Yeah, that's what happened. But I'm telling you, like, for Mother Khadijah, she has been with him from the guys. She was with him before he was the honorable minister. Listen, hold on. She was with him before he was Louis Farrakhan, before he was the honorable minister Louis Farrakhan. She was back. She was with him when he was known as Calypso Jean, man. That's how long she was with this man. Okay. She's been right by his side the entire time. Love that man. How you think he feeling right now? So they gotta watch him. They have to watch him. And it's usually the kids that'll be with him. You know what I'm saying? Like Mustafa or somebody. Because Mustafa is like really, anytime you used to see the honorable minister, you see Mustafa in back of him. So I'm sure he's there, grandkids and everything, to make sure that he takes this well, as well as he can. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, respect to you, brother. You said we are heartbroken for the minister and the Farrakhan and Muhammad family. May Allah bless her. That's right. May Allah bless her soul. Allahu Akbar. God is the greatest. That is right. So may because like I said, guys, he like because I was trying to figure back. Do I remember a time that she wasn't there? No. Like I'm talking about my whole life. My whole life, I always saw her. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously I'm younger. I mean, but I know the history of them. And she was always there. Yes, he did lose his wife, Karen Raymond. You're right about that. He did. But the thing is, in order for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to had succeeded through the hurdles he had to face, the death threats and everything, he had to have her with him. That was his rock. He had to. He wouldn't have made it without her. I'm just telling y'all this. That's how important she was to him. Okay. That's how important she was to him. This is very significant, God. This is a really big loss. I'm just telling y'all this. This was because I can't believe I say, wait a minute, she what? And that she's a historic figure. Okay. Because remember back in history, we had Dr. King, right? In his movement, you had Malcolm X in his movement, you had the honorable minister, excuse me, the honorable Elijah Muhammad. Um, you had the Kennedys, you had different historical figures within our timeline in the United States. The Farrakhan's is one of them. They're one of them. So that's why this is huge, man. This is a really big loss today. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the bereavement family for people that's grieving over this right now. You know what I'm saying? Because she meant a lot to people, and especially the people that was closest to her. She meant a lot. So and you know, obviously they found their foundation is their faith, and that's the only thing you have to go on right now is your faith. And she's in a better place. She transitioned on, and she belongs to the ages. But this is a major loss. She's a historical figure. And guess what her birth name was? Anybody know? Her birth name was Betsy Ross. You often think about the person with the Star Spangled Banner making the flag is Betsy Ross, but we come to know her as Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. You know, the thing is, it's like it's almost like losing a family member because I used to study so much history on them. Right. Sorry, I had it wrong. I used to study so much history on them, and then now she's not here. It's like, wow, okay, you know, like my whole life has just been them. I wasn't around during Malcolm X. I was around during the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Did you know? Here's a fun fact. Did you know the Nation of Islam was very instrumental in why people have Islamic names and they're not Muslim? There's a lot of people walking around with Arabic names and they don't know why. They're not even Muslim. It's because of the influence of the Nation of Islam back in the day. That's the reason. I have a lot of friends that have Arabic names and they're not Muslim because their family in some way somehow was influenced by whether it was Malcolm X or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm just telling you, a lot of people don't know that. Because I had a friend of mine. He's like, I'm like, are you Muslim? He said, no. I said, but you have that name. He was like, yeah, my family was they used to follow the Nation of Islam, but they weren't members, but they were influenced by them. That's why. Yep. A lot of my friends I grew up with, and also remember they had schools in my neighborhood because I where I'm from in New Jersey, it's a predominantly it used to be, it's not now, it has changed now. It used to be a predominantly people, members of the Nation of Islam, lived around here. They had schools and everything. And yeah, they had schools and stores. Do you remember, you know how the people said we need our own stuff? They practiced all that back in the day. They had their own stores, everything back then. Um, I remember what year was that, guy? See if anybody know the message to the black man at Madison Square Garden. What year was that? I believe it was 1983, if I can remember. It was in either 83 or 84 in Madison Square Garden when he gave that mess speech. Right after that, it's almost like they put crack out on purpose. Right after that. That was a very powerful speech he made. And she was right there. She was in backup when he made it. That was a very historical speech. And the next thing you know, it's almost like they threw a bomb on the neighborhood and put crack out. Ground zero was South Central Los Angeles a year prior. That's where ground zero was. South Central Los Angeles. I don't know the really too much. It's the background of, I know he has a you talking about the founder? Um he has a Arabic background. For sure he does. In the 1920s. There was pictures of him back then. Like I said, there's a lot of speculation, but I'm here for the Queen Mother right now. You see what I'm saying? She meant something, man. At all his speeches, she was right there, right with her man, right there. Okay, she was right there. She had a silent power. You know what I'm saying? She had a silent power, but you could feel her. She was right there with him the whole time. All the stuff he went through, all the death threats, everything, because he had a lot of death threats. And but he was well protected though. Both of them, they were well protected. Shout out to the FOI. They very impressive. If you ever seen them in person, it's almost like the Secret Service. I call them the Black Secret Service. Just the way their presence is, you know not to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Very impressive, the suits and everything, how they went about their business. It was very impressive, I must say. I got a chance to see him firsthand when he had came to Virginia. I didn't get to shake his hand or anything because I couldn't get close to him. Because when I tell you security was everywhere. I thought it was the Secret Service, but no, it was the FOI. I kind of call them the Black Secret Service. And if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they settled in Arizona. Okay, the Phoenix area. That's where they settled. But they had a huge influence in Chicago, of course. But they settled out there. You get later on in age, Phoenix out there. It's a little better for you to live out there. But yeah, man. You said it ruined your day. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was like somebody making something up. Didn't she look good for her age? She damn sure did. She looked good for her age, man. Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan looked good for his age too. Your grandma also died at 96. She was having visions and conversations with some of her 8 brothers who died. That's a sign that you can talk to people that lived in nursing homes, that worked in nursing homes and everything. That's how I know. Because that happened to my grandfather. They started talking. He started talking to his wife. And he was also talking to a brother of his that passed. I told him, you need to get the family here now. They told me he only have a cold. I said, get the family here now. He's getting ready to pass, man. He's talking to his wife. She's here to come get him. And they were like, you sure? I said, yeah, bro. And it didn't seem like nothing was wrong with him. Then Friday he was gone. But very historical figure, both of them. You know, very historical figures. Just think about all the stories they have. If you like a family member of them, a close family member, imagine hanging out with them for the day. I would just sit there and listen. You know what I would do? I would get them talking though. I say, "Hey, can you tell me about what it was like in 1945?" You tell me that, I bet you they'll be able to tell you. And you have to get that oral tradition. If you got an older person in your family, get that oral tradition from them. Get it from them because they will talk if you let them. So get the oral tradition from your older family member. Just sit down. They will appreciate it. Just sit down and talk with them. They like when younger people sit down and kick it with them. Just sit down and talk to them and tell them what was it like during this time. Like what happened during this time, and they will tell you. They will tell you everything. I remember when my great aunt passed away. I was with her the last Christmas before she passed, and me and her, my godfather, which was her longtime life partner. They both passed a month after each other, and they were born a month apart, same year. And they were just telling me how it was back in the day, and they knew of Red Fox, 'cause they told me I didn't realize Red Fox knew Malcolm X. They the ones told me that. But then obviously I went on Google and confirmed it. I mean, even though I didn't think they were lying, but he did know him. And they were saying that, yeah, this was back before because my aunt and them, her brother lived in Boston. So they go there in the summer to see him. And she said when they used to take the train sometime, they used to run into Red Fox. But he wasn't called Red Fox back then. And I was like, "Really? He worked on the train?" She said, "Yeah." He was, like, on the train. And, they told me about different things like that, and, um, you get a lot of history that way. But he didn't live there. He was, up and down the Northeast Corridor. I don't even think the Northeast Corridor I think it was around back then, I'm not sure, but he used to run that from New England area all the way back to New York City. He was on that train. I don't think he was from Boston, Red Fox. He was from somewhere else. I think St. Louis or something. But he knew Malcolm X though from his times when they used to run together in the from Boston days. Oh, you were in Boston? Okay. Yeah, my grandfather used to live in Boston. He used to live on Columbus Avenue. Yeah. I used to go there every summer as a kid. Now, a lot of people say Lorenz Tate granddad is right. They're not related. But it was one time where Red Fox said, "That's my family right there. That's my son." One time he said that on when he was being interviewed, and Lorenz Tate was in the audience. That's why people say that. But they knew each other. They knew each other very well, but no relation. You said Mother Khadijah was very instrumental in the MGTs, the woman version, right? That's what I was just saying earlier. Yep. Every big speech he had, she was right there, and he acknowledged her right there. That was his rock. Oh, them bean pies are good. I ain't gonna lie to you. I remember one time I had ran into this brother, and this is back when I was in Richmond. You know how they be at the intersection. I was like, I think he thought I was joking. I said, "Hey, brother, you could take my card real quick. You could just swipe it." He said, "I don't have it, bro. Just cash." I said, "I'll be right back." He said, "Okay, brother, man. God bless you. Whatever." He didn't think I came right back. I parked up and went right across the street and got some of them pies because I hadn't had none in a while, and that was like kind of nostalgic for me. I wanted some. He was like, "Oh, you did come back." I said, "Yeah, you know it. I bought like 5 of them from him for sure, and didn't want to share none." I mean, my girlfriend at the time, she wanted some. She's like, "Let me have." Actually, I only had one. She took the rest out of my refrigerator. I'm like, "What?" I said, "Girl, you eating all this?" She said, "Yeah, but you gonna let these go bad?" That's what she said. "You gonna let these go bad? I have 'em in my refrigerator." So then I'm like, "Yo, you still have any more?" She said, "No, me and my mother, we ate it." Like, she took my bean pot. That was crazy. I had one though. I didn't mind sharing them. Nation of Islam. A lot of people, man, have them Arabic names and don't realize why. And their family is not Muslim. It's because of the influence the nation had on the community. They also when I was growing up, they had a grocery store when I was growing up. Yeah, they had a grocery store. They had several schools. Some of my friends went to their schools. My friend of mine, Rafia, her and her brother, they went to grammar school. They went there, and then they transferred over. I think it went to the 5th grade, I believe. I couldn't remember. I'm glad people came through to so we could pay respect to her because this means something right here. This She's very historic figure, man. Very historic figure, man. That's the only thing I can say. Like, my whole life, I just known her like she was there. Like, 'cause like I said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he made the nation what it is. Like after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed away, his son Warith Dean Muhammad took over. Right, he wanted to take it into more of a traditional, like Sunni. But then the Honorable Minister came in the early '80s and reestablished it how it was back when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was in power. So he brought it back to that. So that's how we know it is the way it is now. He restored it back to that in the early '80s. I was young then. I don't remember that, but just from the history I've researched. But like my whole life, I just know them. You know, I wasn't around during Malcolm X days, but yeah, I remember all his like historic moments. The March on Washington, the Million Man March. Um, so I have a very interesting story about the Million Man March. So I was really young then. I was working for this mailroom, and one of the managers in the mailroom, he wanted to know if we wanted to go. He wanted to know if we wanted to go, and I never forget it. We rented a van, and 4 of us went, and we all helped each other drive and stuff like that. And we went there, and we didn't kind of get. It was so many people out there, we couldn't even get close, but we heard it. The sound system was really good, but we went to that, and yeah, that was something else right there. We had got there a day before because we figured if we had left the day of, we wouldn't have got there because the traffic was crazy. We ended up walking to, I can't remember where we walked to, but it was just so many people out there. Everything, it was no violence. No violence, nothing broke out or anything. It was peaceful. So that's why I remember that one. I did go to that. I didn't go to the second one, but I just remember everybody getting along. That's what I remember. And he had his speech and stuff like that. She was there, man. But my thoughts and feelings go out to her immediate family, because they got to watch the old man now. They have to watch him. So they've been together 70. What is it? They were let me see, 72 or 73 years. That's a long time. 72 years. Okay. Yeah, 72 years a long time. So yeah, they definitely gotta watch. They definitely gotta watch him. I remember. I can't remember. He had somebody. He had somebody come interview him when he was in, at the house in Arizona, and he was sitting there doing the interview. She was sitting right there the whole time. She was just like kind of attentively listening, and she was right by his side, man. Like, yeah. I did consider joining back in the day. I did. I ran into a lot of them. I had a couple friends that joined. I had a couple friends I grew up with that they were in the nation. Yep, my boy Atif, he was in the nation. His dad was a cop. They were in the nation. Yeah, I had a lot of friends that, yeah, for sure. I lived in a neighborhood that it was predominantly like it was a mixed neighborhood, really, but there's a lot of people in the nation that lived around here for sure. Because they had a lot of stores around here and schools and stuff. Now it's all gone. It's not like that anymore. But back when I was growing up in the '80s, it was like that. Yeah, they have a bond that is probably, man, lasted 72 years. She was with him. 72. Man, this was back when he was I think he was either a freshman or sophomore in college when they got married. I believe he was a freshman. Can't remember right now. He was either fresh. He was at Winston-Salem. I know because my brother went there. And they used to talk about him even to this day. Like, yeah, one of our most famous people came from Winston-Salem is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. His picture is in there. Because when he was going to college there, he talked about it like, the Honorable Minister went here. I said, really? He said, yeah, Winston-Salem. Yeah, it had the same lessons. You talking about the nation. Yeah, the 5% nation, right. So yeah, man. Yeah, I just took this time just to talk about it really quickly because I did so much research on them. And yeah, just kind of like a chapter has been updated. It's like not I don't like to say a chapter is closed. I want to say it's updated, because she lives on, her memory lives on. She passes on, but her memory lives on. But yeah, I do remember that famous picture with her and Betty Shabazz and the others. I remember that famous picture. But yeah, for our community, this was a huge loss. This was I can't tell you how huge this was. This is a time where you just stop and reflect for a minute. Like, wait a minute. Okay. That's how it was for me. But man, I remember some of his speeches, man. It was like, man, he used to put on though. Some of his speeches. I'm gonna have to go listen to some. Somebody had was saying to me, like, in your opinion, how did he survive all these years? I said he had protection. They couldn't get to him. Anywhere he go, like I said, if you had been in his presence, I was, but I never met him. It's like the Secret Service was around. That's the way it seemed. No, they could not touch him, man. Not at all. He was well protected. They both well protected, I must say. It was impressive too, because it was like the Secret Service. If you ever seen a presidential motorcade, his was something similar. But a little smaller, but the seriousness of the guards were the same. Very serious. That's right. May Allah be pleased with Sister Khadijah Farrakhan soul. Yeah, I was just telling let me see. Nah, you're not coming up in here with that. You're getting blocked. Hold on a second. Let me go on my phone and block him. Hold on, guys. No, you're not coming up in here with that hate. I'm just telling you that right now. Hold on one second. Yeah, you take your evil self on out of here. You some man, there's some evil people. Hold on, give me 1 second. You are not doing that up in here. I don't know if you thought you was, but that's not happening. Hold on, you getting blocked. Hold on. I can't block you quick enough. All right, there we go. I got you. You're not doing that up in here. Yeah, it's not even worth it. Just let me block him. It's not even worth it. Yeah, just let me block him. Nah, somebody that important to us. Nah, you're not doing that. Mm. Oh no. Gina, you're not lying. You said the longest you've seen written. You mean the longest like writing of her? You're not gonna read much on it. You have to get the books on it because they have books out. Yeah, we're sitting here just saying some you talking about a biography on her. There's some books you can get. I think might have one around. It's in storage though. Uh yeah, condolences to the family. They lived an extraordinary life though together, I must say. Guys, 71 years. Okay? She knew him before Malcolm X, and before he was in the nation. She was with him then, before he was in the nation. She knew him back when he was still a musician back then. She was with him every through the whole thing, through the whole thing. What a hell of a life partner to have, man. So, yeah, so what a yeah, 71 years, guys, they were together. It's a long time. I was just telling my mother, I said, "They got married before you were born." She said, "Wait a minute." She was like, "Yeah, you're right." No, right when she was born. I said, "They got married right when you were born, ma." And she said she never remembered them not being together. So she was like, no, she was 1, I believe, when they were born. She was 1 or 2 years old. It's crazy. Yeah, he was born in New York City. Um, Grew up in the Boston area. So I think somebody said he was born in the Bronx. I'm not sure. I know it was somewhere in New York City. You said they complimented each other for sure they did. Yeah, I remember when he just sitting there talking and she just nod her head. Like she was like paying attention to him the whole time. Just imagine the memories they used to share, man. Like sitting back, kicking it one day, just after having dinner. Hey, you remember how it was in the 50s? Start reminiscing a little bit about the 50s, the good old days. How about the 60s? Hell of a conversation. I would love to have been a fly on the wall just to soak up that history. But thoughts go to her kids right now. Her kids, her immediate family and friends and people that met her and knew her closely because they're going through it. It's always like you never could get prepared. You always know, okay, someone is sick, but you never can get prepared for it. You know the person's sick, but still, it still hits you, because the history, that part is gone. You feel that void. You feel it right away. And that's something that will always be there. Only time will help you deal with it. But yeah, man. You said the depressing part of life. That's how life is, man. Somebody told me best. They said life is a continuous cycle. He said, "You remember the day you graduated high school?" I said, "I remember." He said, "Someone is about to experience that right now." And he said, "It's a cycle. You die, someone is born right away. And they go through the same thing you went through, but you're passed on." He said, if you're lucky, you might get to come back in another body. That's what somebody was telling me. Gotta do it all over again. She lived to 90, yeah, 90 years old. You said she walked through the struggle and they together gave us so much. Yeah, they walked through it together. She was with him the whole time. All the things he went through. I don't know if they're going to have her services so we can see it. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. Usually it's what within 24 hours they bury. Within 48 hours. I think I can't remember the time, but I don't know if they're gonna make it so we can see it. I'm not sure. They're gonna have a private ceremony. 71 years of marriage. That's right. It's a long time. That's a true life partner right there. Let me see something. Yeah, man. What a life partner, man. I never made one from scratch. I'm sure I could. I can cook. I never thought to do one. Make one from scratch. But I know I could though. I had the right if I had the right recipe, for sure I could. You think so? Like they'll maybe make something public or have like a public memorial or something. You said 5'11", 1933, born in the Bronx, raised in Boston, mother from St. Kitts. Yeah, you talking about the honorable minister? Yeah, okay, yeah, he born in the Bronx. Okay, he born in New York City. Okay, okay. Yeah, I knew he was born somewhere in the city, but yeah, the Bronx. Okay, and he was a violinist, very accomplished. He could have easily had a professional career with that. I'm pretty sure he knew the former king of Thailand. I'm pretty sure they knew each other when they were younger. I have to go back in the see, but I'm pretty sure they did because the former king of Thailand, he is known as number nine because he was the ninth king of Thailand. So they call him number nine. The current one is number 10. His son is number 10. But number nine was also a jazz musician. He also was. And he used to one time he did a gig with Lionel Hampton. Okay. And when people used to come to Thailand, all his musician friends, he treated them like royalty. I'm sure he knew the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm sure he did. They knew each other. But yeah, that's like a little fun fact. He was a jazz musician as well. Musician as well. He played the saxophone. Yeah, he played the sax with Lionel Hampton, and he was very influenced by Dizzy Gillespie. He was influenced. He also liked Miles Davis. Yeah, the former king of Thailand. You said 71 years of partnership doesn't happen very often. My ex, her parents was together 53 years. They right now they've been together 53 years. Long time. Okay. See. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he was born in Bronx. Okay. He also had a historic speech in Madison Square Garden. It was in, I believe it was 1983. Yeah, I want to say 83, 84. I think it was 83. Titled Message to the Black Man. Yeah. Oh, you looked him up? Yeah, he was king in Thailand. He was also a jazz musician. He did a few gigs with a lot of like Lionel Hampton and a few other people. No, I was trying to find out something with the honorable minister. I was reading something, but somebody already said it where he was born. Let me see. What is this? King Floss. What's going on? Yeah, the minister was born in the Bronx. Grew up in Boston. But yeah, man, I just wanted to make a quick video that Mother Khadijah Farrakhan passed away at the age of 90. And yeah, it was a moment where I had to stop and say, wow, okay. He said Public Enemy contributed to Minister Farrakhan popularity, but in the later 2000s, Nation lost some popularity. Um, I don't know if I don't think they lost popularity. They did mention Farrakhan in some of their raps. They did mention him in some of their raps back in the day. But no, I don't think they ever lost popularity. Um, he's always been around. I mean, Farrakhan has always been like the figure, at least in my lifetime. Like I said, I wasn't around during Malcolm X. I wasn't around then, but my day, it's always been the name Farrakhan. It's synonymous with the Nation of Islam. And he was a very popular person. He was. He met with Muammar Gaddafi. He met with a lot of heads of state, back then. So yeah, he was very polarizing and popular figure. I don't know I don't know a time where he wasn't. He's always been. Maybe he wasn't on some people radar, but our radar he was. In our community, he was always popular. He's very popular. Yeah, he's very popular, man. I remember Jim Jones told a story one time which was funny. Um the rapper Jim Jones, he said something about Farrakhan. He said something about him. And one time he was in Miami. I think he said he was in Miami. He said these SUVs rolled up to him. These SUVs rolled up to him and they said, "Hey, how you doing, brother? The minister want to talk to you." So he said he was just kind of like well, can it wait? But the way they were looking at it, he said, "All right, I gotta go." And they took him off to talk to him. And he said it was a humbling experience. They didn't do anything to him, but he just wanted to talk to him. You said he is blackballed from mainstream media. You can catch him on YouTube. Well, let me think about this. He's been out of the media for some time. They could try to blackball him, but it didn't work. Um, I know what you mean, but they really couldn't touch him though. He didn't need them for survival. He did not. He was able to speak his mind and this and that without no effect on his life. I'm sure he had a lot of death threats and stuff like that, of course. He's still a human being at the end of the day. He got a family to protect, but he did a very good job. And like I said, his people were not allowing nothing to happen to him. Nothing. They were the Black Secret Service. Straight up. Now, if something happened to him, I don't know what's gonna happen with the nation if something happened to him. But I'm pretty sure they have someone to take over. But yeah, he's always been popular to us. I don't know about any other group, but us, he's always been popular. Yeah, he did have a round table. And you know what Jim Jones said? He said he was talking very peacefully. He said, but you could be in danger if you say something wrong. He said it wasn't him, it was the bodyguards around him. Yeah, them guys ain't no joke, man. I've seen them up in close, up in person. They ain't no joke. It's like they looking through you. They looking like the guy's eyes are going back and forth. It's like the Secret Service. Yeah, they wanted to block his message. It didn't happen though. What's interesting is though, after his message to the black man, he had a book as well, but after his speech in Madison Square Garden in 1983, crack hit the streets heavily after that. It's like they wanted to block his message. And it was like a bomb that was dropped on the inner city. Ground zero was South Central Los Angeles. You know what's funny now? When I went out there, they don't call it South Central no more. It's south of LA. No, it's South Central. That's how I know it. It's always going to be South Central to me, not south of LA. South Central Los Angeles. But that was ground zero for the crack epidemic. They did it on purpose, and that's what happened. Prior to that, I mean, it had heroin, but it didn't crack. It went to a different level. So many people got locked up. It was crazy. But if you listen to his message, it had to affect you in a certain type of way. Because he had a positive message, even for how a man should be a man, how a man should treat a woman, how a man should look at a woman as his partner and not as something of pleasure. You know what I'm saying? How powerful a woman is. He said all this, and he was right about it. Your life is upgraded if you get a spouse. Your life is upgraded immediately. A woman can upgrade a man immediately. And it don't have to be money. It's spiritual. You work that much harder. It's a lot of things you do. Women carry a lot of power. A lot of power. Maybe not physical power, but a lot of power, spiritual power, mental power. They can literally upgrade you just like that. Right in a second. And he talked about it. He wrote about it. He wrote about how you're supposed to treat your woman. So I don't care what nobody say. He had a lot of you know, you said Lord lift the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan up. Hold on, let me go back to your message. While his wife rest in peace. I like your message, Mona. Thank you. That was a good man. That's good right there. Yeah, lift him up because you know why? They've been married for 71 years. Somebody got to lift them up. They've been married 70. That's his woman for 71 years. And you know what he's probably thinking now? He's reflecting on how she was there the whole time. Okay? She stood like a soldier the whole time. Okay? Straight up. Went through everything, all the controversy, everything with this man. Okay? Yes, they have to watch him today. Yes, they do. You said gave us the guidance on husbandhood. Right. On how you supposed to treat your wife. Wife is a life partner. To find a wife, well, let me read that. To find a wife is to find a good thing. Right. That will literally upgrade your life. You have a wife. That's right. And I know because I'm not even married. And I can tell you, although I'm getting close, but not there yet. But I'm getting close. But yeah, man, it's all the controversy, everything. She been there through thick and thin, man. You said we have to figure out how to pick them. He did. He even talked about that too, on how to pick them. He wrote a lot of books. I mean, it man, just I don't know. I'm just going back to some of his speeches and just watching. You know how before the speech they will acknowledge her and she'll stand up. She was at every last one of them, right there. She was right there, even when he had sickness. She was right there. Yeah, he's thinking about that right now for sure. He is. You know, he's human, so his family have to be with him right now for comfort. You know, you said that's biblical. Yeah, it is. He wouldn't have got through all of this in his life without her. He wouldn't have. That's a fact. He wouldn't have. So I know he's thinking about that. You know, but respect to her, man. Like I mean, it's the only but respect. He said found himself a real good thing. Death do you part. That's right. Pray for discipline and discernment. You know, it's like I have like a weird feeling. It's felt like a family member passed. That's how I feel. Jeez, man. This is how I feel, bro. Because I thought it was fake news. I'm looking at it. I said, I don't think it's fake. The radio is reporting on it now. I said, wow, okay. Because I didn't hear about her being sick, anything. Because, you know, they keep all that stuff between the family. You don't never really hear about anything. But, yeah, she's right by his side, man. I don't know. I guess because, you know, when I was younger, I had did a research paper on them. I was just like really just interested in them. Like, you know, just the things they went through, you know, life and stuff. That's why I'm kinda, like, kind of taken back, but I'm just kinda like, "Wow," you know? But, what a hell of a life to live, you know, together, though. Yeah, we don't have much left, Ray, from the old days. We don't have much of them left. Yeah, heavy hearts. Don't have much for them left. I remember Farrakhan, he was at Nipsey's funeral, gave a good speech. He's just been everywhere throughout the culture. He's been everywhere. Like I said, they met with heads of state in different countries. It's just crazy. They went to Cuba, everywhere they've been together. He said they respected her privacy for sure. His privacy too, because you never hear anything. They keep that life private. I wish I could find the link. It was a vlogger that went to their house to interview them, and he mentioned something about them being together for so long. They just looked at each other and smiled. He said, "Yeah, brother, you know we've been together. Do everything, brother." You said to avoid evil energy from all right. Keep all that stuff. They're right. You're right about they got to keep that stuff private. You did stand. She was beautiful. Stand by his side. You're right. You said you pray that he stays strong and keep doing the will of God. Yeah, she was with him the whole time. I was just looking at their wedding photo, how young they look. God, they been together a long time. They took them vows seriously. Yep. You said you met Jesse Jackson, who influenced me to vote. You said when he passed, it hit hard for you. You was 18 years old. Yeah, things like that you will remember. You said yes, they did in sickness and health, the death do them part. You damn right, they took them vows seriously. 71 years for sure. And I'm sure they had their ups and downs, but we never knew about it. That's how you supposed to keep it. Anyway, guys, I wanted to end it here, but if she have some information on her memorial service, I'll come back and talk about that. So I'm gonna wait to hear to see when they're gonna have some type of memorial service or something like that. Um, so we'll see. But rest in peace to Mother Khadijah, Farrakhan. Um, so yeah, thanks for everybody that came by to share some good notes and stuff like that, messages on her. Yeah, so thank you for the, because we lost one today. This was big. She was like the silent warrior. She was the rock behind them. And even though you didn't hear her a lot, her presence was always felt. You always saw her there with him. All his big speeches, she was right there. So he couldn't have done this without her. So man, rest in peace to her. Thank you guys for joining. Like I said, if they have any information on her memorial or if it's going to be public, I'll come back. All right, guys, take care.